What's up everyone and welcome back. My friends over at Hydro-Blok sent me this shower system. I've never tried it before and I haven't even opened it yet. So I figured it's a great time to open it with you and give you my first impressions. Let's go. Oh my God, it's so heavy. Just kidding. All right, so this looks like it's the curb. All right, so I've unboxed the curb, the pan, and the niche. And the very first thing that sticks out to me, obviously, is it's a cementous coating. I've tried some other brands with a similar cement coating, but this seems, it's very, very rigid, like you can hear it. So that's one thing that really sticks out to me. Another thing, I did a quick Google search before opening the pan because I wanted to see what it came with. And this is something that no other company, as far as I know, is doing. These are all of the items that come with your pan. Starting off with the spatula. So this would be, if you're not familiar with the sealant method, this is something that you would use in conjunction with the sealant. So like anytime you are sealing off seams or screw holes, you're gonna need to go around with your sealant, seal up those seams, seal up the screw holes, and then you need to make sure it's nice and flat. So that's what this is for. It's the same thing for this one, but this is for the inside corners where your wall meets the pan. So then you'd be using it like that. So this is something little and seems insignificant, but this truly does help if you are familiar with the sealant method. It's just a nice little detail to make your job go smoother. So moving on. Oh, here's what the mesh tape looks like. I'm gonna have to read the instructions on how they want you to install it, but I believe it is with sealant. So you'd probably be running a sealant along here and then adding your tape and then running over the tape with your inside corner spatula. All right, so this little tool here is, let me read you their description. It's the pipe puller to set the drain assembly into the pan and connect the pipe. Anytime you're on a live job site, your waste pipe is sticking out of the ground. It is never straight and it is never perfectly where you need it to be. So that's what this is for. So say you're going to set this in place. You have your thin set here, you're ready to set it down. You're going to reach into your waste pipe, stick this in, adjust it, or you can pull it over to make sure that it fits into here. And then you can pull up on this while you're pushing down on your drain to get a really good connection. Quickly, I want to mention that the Hydro-Blok system is there is no glue required at the connection for the drain. They use this, which they call it a rubber ball seal, which would be technically a mechanical bond. So basically this goes onto your waste pipe and these little ribs here hold it into place. And then when you're pressing it down, it sits flush into their drain like this so that your pipe would sit inside here. And that's how you connect that. Hydro-Blok shower system, well, their shower pan comes with a water test plug. So pretty much when you're done installing your shower, to test for it to be 100% waterproof, you need to do a flood test. Everyone should be doing a flood test. It's what I believe. We're human, we make mistakes, and the product is only as good as the installer, so you definitely need to make sure you are performing one. So I give Hydro-Blok big props for including this and making it pretty much like, hey, you need to do this. I've never installed a drain like this ever, so I'm looking forward to installing this. Once this goes in, it comes with the grate frame with wings. Let me make sure I put this down right. So then you put this on here, and now I'm just dry fitting it, so this isn't installation instructions or anything. I'm just walking through what I see here so that I can kind of get a grasp of how this works. So this is an adjustable grate. Now, it says specifically that these wings, with the wings, it's set up to flush out with installed tile up to 3/16 of an inch. That's including thin set. So if you have a thicker tile installation, you can snap off these wings. They're not required to stay there. So basically this goes like this. Now let's get to this because I thought this was really interesting. These little screws go in here like this. And as you can see, so pretend this piece was a tile, you could see that the drain is sitting lower. If you wanted to bring up the drain grate or where it's going to sit when you're from your tile application, you just screw it down, which brings up the drain. So the more you screw these down, the higher the drain gets, and you can get it nice and flush. I want to see how much height you have here, which is a lot. I mean, I don't think that you need all that, but it's there if you need it. And then this is also a grate frame riser, so that would go under here, of course, depending on how thick your tile is. Some natural stones are pretty thick, so gives you even more room for that. So these little pieces, they are centering tabs. So you push these in here and it makes you center right on that pipe there. So that's really nice. This is like the sealant. It is a waterproof sealant. This is just one of the sausages. This kind of stuff will actually cure with water. Like, you don't have to worry about like getting wet immediately, but I know that each manufacturer has different drying times. So just make sure that whichever product you're using, like I always say in all my videos, double check with your manufacturer and follow their guidelines because it's their product, they make it. So this is cool. They sent me this really big caulking gun. It's literally like more than half my body size, but it's nice because these babies are really hard to squeeze out. It is some serious work there with you get a 4-arm pump. The last thing that comes with the shower pan is the drain grate, which is stainless steel, very heavy, very nice quality. And of course it's very minimal, so your tile's gonna come up, you'll have a grout joint, and then your grate is right there. All right, so say you got your pan down, your thin sets down, you have an opening for your drain, and your drain is set. So now the next thing that you need to do is obviously set the walls. Just like a traditional foam system, well, not all traditional, because what you're gonna notice is that this pan is a low profile pan, which like a traditional pan, I'm gonna say is well over 1 inch thickness on the outside perimeter. This pan is just brushing 1 inch, so I'm not sure what the actual measurements are, I'd have to check, but it's very low profile. That's one thing you're gonna notice right away. And it also has a channel on the outside for your board to sit in. So you'd run your sealant, you put your board, and then you put your mesh tape right there at the connection so that you can have a nice waterproof seal. I'm just gonna put this board in place just to show you. Now, if this was real life, I would put a bead of sealant here first, and then I drop my wall board in here like that. I'd run another bead of sealant, put my mesh tape on top, flatten that out, and then I have a nice waterproof connection. So I want to show you also how the curb goes on. Again, very low profile, very, very minimal. Where in a traditional shower with a curb, it's much more obtrusive than this. This doesn't really take up much of the pan. It doesn't go into the room. It's very minimal, very small. So if you do not have access to create a curbless shower, this is kind of the next best thing, I would say. So just a few key things with the board. The foam itself is XPS foam, so that means that the foam itself is waterproof. In comparison to some of the other shower systems out there that have foam boards as well, the foam wouldn't be waterproof. So if you penetrate the top layer or membrane that's on there, then you're compromising your waterproofing. So that's another benefit of this system. It installs just like almost every other system out there with, you use your washer, put your washer in, and then you screw it to the stud. So it's very familiar if you've used a waterproof shower system before. The biggest difference is the drain, and of course their low profile pan, and the size of their curbs is pretty unique as well. So, all right, so last but not least, I just want to talk a little bit about the things I love and the things that I don't love so much about this system so far. So starting with the drain, obviously the drain is very different from everything else out there on the market. And the things I love about it is that it makes it really simple, I think. You're not messing with glue. They give you a tool to move the pipe around so that you can get it nice and level. You don't have to be fighting with it with glue as well. To me, that's a big help. I'm not really sure about the quality and how these work because I'm not a plumber. The rubber ball seal, I'm not sure how they work. I'm sure I'll get a lot of comments, or I'm sure somebody will give me their input on that, but I like it. First impressions, I like it. The grate seems a little bit confusing. There's a lot of steps, but I think that once I install it, it's gonna be a breeze. Another thing I really like is the coating on the board, on their pan, on their curbs, everything. It's really good quality. It's really rigid. I really like the XPS foam that I don't have to worry about compromising my waterproofing from the outside. Very great. I like their low profile pan that gives you a minimal step up into the shower. That just gives you more versatility if you have a client that maybe can't afford to do a curbless shower, or they just don't have the option to do that in their home. This gives them the next best thing, which is a super low profile entry. Some of the things that I do not love is the fiberglass. I love using non-harmful construction products, and although fiberglass isn't the worst thing in the world, I just think that it's not my favorite. But again, this coating is very good quality, so until I really get to work with the board a little bit more, I can't really determine how itchy the fiberglass will be. But again, you're giving a little to get a little, and that gives you that extra rigidity for the panels and the pan. Something else that I don't like, it's not really that I don't like it, it's just maybe something I'm thinking about for the future, is that when installing these thin curbs, while I do love it, I'm worrying about how it would be installing tile to this. We do a lot of large format, so these cuts would have to be pretty skinny, and that just makes it a little bit more difficult on us as the installer to get that perfect. But again, until we install it, it's to be determined. Those are the only downsides that I can really think of. And of course with this ball seal, just because I don't know, and it's not really even a downside, it's just something I don't know. So I have to just like do a little bit more research and think about it and look at it. It's really not a negative, it's just different, it's new. So truthfully, those are the only things that I can think of, and that's just from my personal experience and my personal opinion. But overall, I think from my first impression, it's a cool system, and I'm excited to give it a try and install it and give you guys my real opinion after that. But from first impression, very good quality. And if you look on their website, they have some pretty interesting linear drains too, which I'm going to try to get so I can install it. If you're interested to see how this installs, check out our next video on it, and I'll let you know how this goes then. But until then, thank you guys for watching. This was the Hydro-Blok foam shower system with the low profile pan. We'll see you on the next one.